welcome. Having a good day so far? Inspired? Learning lots of things? Fabulous. So, my name is Alice and I am the director of The Joyful Web. We are a growth agency that supports mission-driven businesses who are up to exciting things in the world and who are out there to have a positive impact and make a difference. I'm also the founder of BelongCon, which is a social initiative that brings people together to share stories of where they found a sense of belonging in the world, times where they maybe felt like they didn't belong, and it brings people together really to have the important conversations that we wish we could have and connect people in an era where social media has replaced far too much of human connection. I'm also a children's author at Truth and Tales, and I am on the board of Wired Sussex, which is, I am guessing, a reason why they've asked me to come along and speak to you today. So, I'm going to be talking about building confidence and resilience in the journey to finding your dream job. I now run my own business, which takes a hell of a lot of confidence and resilience. So I'm going to be sharing with you today the 5 key lessons that I've learned throughout the course of my career that have really helped me to keep going and eventually enabled me to have the confidence to take that leap, step out of employment and start a business. So first of all, I want to start by just busting some myths around what confidence is. I'm standing up here, I've got a pretty loud voice, I'm fine standing up in a room full of people, I'm pretty out there, but a lot of people think that in order to be confident, you have to be loud, you have to be out there, you have to, make people take notice of you when you stroll into a room. Whereas actually, you can be quietly confident. I've put some dictionary definitions in here because who doesn't love a dictionary definition? But I really liked how all of these definitions of confidence, which is the feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on someone or something, the state of feeling certain about the truth of something, and a feeling of self-assurance arising from an appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities, which I absolutely love. And that last one for me is the absolute key when you're thinking about your mindset, when you're going for job interviews, or thinking about what the next steps are for your career. And then the next one I found really interesting is resilience. Because for a long time, I associated the word resilient with being tough and having a hard exterior, that kind of like, you can't touch me vibe, almost like if I came across as resilient, people would think that, I was a bit of a bitch, really. But actually, resilience has nothing to do with that. I consider myself to be pretty tough, and I'm actually a really emotional person. And I don't think that it's helpful to confuse resilience with not being emotional or with hiding your feelings. I'm really proud of the fact that I'm quite emotional. I will show my emotions. And resilience, for me, isn't about that. It isn't about not reacting. It isn't about putting up walls or having a tough exterior. It's about the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. So it's about having a setback and not letting that impact your mindset, not letting it make you feel like giving up, and immediately springing back onto the next plan of action to carry on, which I appreciate is a lot easier to say than it is to do. And then the final, the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity, which I really, really liked. So, what are the key lessons that I have learned about confidence and resilience? The first one sounds like a cliche, but it is just go for it. Seriously. And this is a really over-quoted statistic, I appreciate, but I think it's still a really important one. And it's that men have a tendency to apply for a job when they meet around 60% of the qualifications, but women only apply if they meet 100% of them. And this is from a study by Hewlett-Packard in 2014. And I think that the key to going for it really is all about confidence. And one of the key things the key pieces of advice that I like to give to people is that skills can be learned, but personality can't. If you are a good fit for an organisation, then they will see that and they will want you to join the team. They will want you to work for them. Anything that you don't know, any gaps in your knowledge, if you do only meet that 60% of the criteria, the 40% can easily be learned. And if you're the right fit for that team, they're going to support you, and it's going to be easy for you to fill those gaps. You're also not the one hiring yourself. So if you see a job that you really want to go to, and you're the one that's making a judgment about whether or not you should apply for it, you're probably not the best placed person to make that call. When I went for my first agency job, the job description asked for 3 years of marketing agency experience. How many years of experience do you think I had? None. I had no agency experience. And I read this job and I thought, that sounds exactly like me. I remember I'd been to a talk that the MD had given at a local networking event, and when I saw the job advertised, I found her on Twitter, and I sent her a message and I said, I love the sound of this job, I love the sound of your company. I don't know if you remember me, but I met you 2 years ago, and I really want to apply, is that okay? And she was like, yeah, great, it would be brilliant to have you. Went along to the interview and I landed my first agency job because I knew that she was running a fantastic company that I was really, really passionate about, and I had the confidence that I could learn the skills that they were asking for. Which leads into the next point, that attitude is everything. If you are passionate and you are showing up, speaking to the person that's running a business, showing that you are just as excited about that business as they are, they're going to want to hire you. And then finally, what's the worst that can happen? You get a no. A friend of mine gave me the most brilliant piece of advice. She said, when you're really looking to step out of your comfort zone, get outrageous and start playing a game called No Bingo, where you challenge yourself to see how many outrageous no's you can collect just by going for stuff. And the more people that say no to you, the bolder you know that you're getting. And I really like that. So that's a game that I sometimes play when I feel like the comfort zone needs a bit of a push. And then lesson 2, if you do get a no, it's not you, it's them, probably. A lot of people get quite upset by feedback. I used to be one of those people. I used to think that when people gave me feedback, it was a direct criticism of what I'd done. So I put another definition in here. I thought this was really interesting about what feedback is. And all it is information about reactions. So you present in an interview, you submit a piece of work, and someone gives you feedback. All that's doing is letting you know about their reaction and then giving you the data that you need to tailor that in order to make that person happy and meet that person's expectations. It really, really isn't, it's not a personal criticism. Because feedback tells you nothing about you, it just tells you about the person giving the feedback and about their expectations. And this is key to building resilience, is having that communication and having that sense to have those discussions with people when you get feedback, but not taking it to heart and being able to step back from the situation and deal with the facts. And remembering that other people's opinions about you are not the truth. You know, if you think about your best friends who think you're absolutely amazing, and then you think about that person that doesn't really like you, which one of them's right? Are you great or are you a terrible person? Neither. Because their opinions are not the truth. It's all about communication, it's all about connection. And when you do get feedback, it's there for you to look at. You can look at it and you can take anything that's constructive from it and take that forward with you, and you can disregard anything that doesn't resonate with you and anything that you don't know to be the truth. And that's really key to building resilience. And lesson 3 is cultivating empathy. And what I mean by that is that every single person has a different point of view of the world. There's no other person that's looking at the world through the lens that you're looking at the world through. And a great way to cultivate empathy are personality tests. And when I say personality tests, I mean personality in inverted commas, because all personality tests tell you is about your preferred processes and approach to doing things, and your tendency to respond to situations. I worked for a company where there was there was a bit of conflict amongst a few members of the team. There was bickering, we didn't really understand each other, and then our boss set up an entire away day built around the Myers-Briggs personality type index. Has everyone heard of that? Yeah. So basically you answer a series of questions and then you get 4 letters which describe your personality. And everyone in the team did that. And we had a day just full of these conversations. And this colleague that like every time I spoke to her, one of us ended up getting so annoyed. I used to go home and cry because I'd had arguments with her. We did this personality test and we found out we had completely opposite opposing views in every area of this personality. And the moment that I understood where she was coming from, my resilience in that situation improved because it completely changed the way that we communicated with each other. And instead of being at loggerheads, we decided we were going to use our strengths to support each other. And that was absolutely incredible. So I'm a big fan of the personality test. Also, never assume people are mean. Most people are just trying to survive. I think a key thing for resilience is if you perceive something as a personal attack, remember it's never about you. Everyone is walking around with all of their own stuff going on in their own head, and that's all they can think about. Like, they really don't care about you. That's not in a mean way. They're just trying to get through the day, deal with their stress, deal with their anxieties, and deal with their workload. And that is their number one priority. And next, own your weaknesses. Hugely important to me in building my resilience is not trying to go around all of the time pretending that I had everything handled, because all that happens then is that the weaknesses don't go away. They're just constantly there as anxieties. So remember that when you walk into a new job, when you get a promotion, when you're given a new challenge or a piece of work, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know absolutely everything straight away. And once you start to ask questions and ask for help and just be really, really honest about where the gaps in your knowledge are, you can get support. And once you get support for them, they stop being weaknesses. There's not a single time where I have spoken up about something I'm worried or concerned about, where I've been met with criticism. I've always been met with support. And all of that anxiety turned out to be for nothing. So I'm a big fan of owning your weaknesses. And even in client calls, when I run my own business, I will say, I don't know how to do that. And I'm going to go away and figure it out, and I'm going to talk to someone, and I'll get back to you. And if I'm not the right person to do it, then I will find someone that will. And then finally, one of the most important lessons of all is find your cheerleaders. Seriously, community is absolutely everything. And a good network of people will support you whatever you choose. When I decided to quit my job, I was terrified that everyone was going to look at me and just be like, what is she doing? She's walking away from a senior position, just completely and totally without a plan. And not a single person said that. Every person was like, this is so exciting, of course you can do this. And I went out and I started networking, and I met just the most incredible group of people who are all about my age, all starting businesses, all up to exciting things in the world. I've got several WhatsApp groups which are like, SOS, I'm having a freak out about this. And I know that there's always going to be someone that will, even if it's just a kind word or can put me in touch with someone. And that makes such a difference to feel like you're not alone. And a great network will also be totally honest with you. Like, if you're like, I want to do this, if there is something, they care about you, they want to protect you, and if they can see danger in something, if they can see risk in something, you can count on them to have those conversations with you. They also won't take any of your BS. My imposter syndrome is real when you're running your own business, and I'm so lucky to have a network that when I'm having a moment of like, I can't do this, I actually can't do this. Stabilizers have come off and I've got no idea what I'm doing. They're like, oh, for goodness sake, pull yourself together. Of course you can do this. You've got this. You've got us. And they listen for your greatness. They don't listen for the faults. They don't listen for the weaknesses. They don't hear them. They are always, always there, being a positive voice and being a support to you. And honestly, if any of you are doing this in Brighton, you are in the best place for business networks like Wired Sussex, the Chamber of Commerce, Brighton Digital Women. There are so many supportive networks to be part of that can provide all of this for you. And those are the places where I've ended up meeting most of my best friends and my networks. So finally, 5 points wrapped up, building confidence and resilience. Firstly, just go for it, because what's the worst that can happen? Play that no bingo. It gets fun after a while, promise you. It's terrifying at first. It's not you, it's them, probably. Feedback is just data. Look at it, take what you can learn from it, but don't take it as the truth, and absolutely don't take it as a personal criticism. Cultivate empathy. Understanding others and being in the space where someone else is hugely helpful in building resilience, because again, it shifts that focus to, it's not about me, it's about what's going on for them. Owning your weaknesses. Terrifying to admit you don't know stuff, especially like me, always have prided myself on having things handled, but the sooner that you're honest about this stuff, the sooner you can move forward and get the help you need. And then finally, find your cheerleaders, because community is absolutely everything. Thank you.